Hello, mathematicians. Mr. Regan here with your math lesson with Miss Yuka.
Good morning, mathematicians. Good to see you.
Hi, Miss Yuka. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So, for our math lesson today, we're going to be continuing with place value. And since it's the end of our math unit, we have a fun, different activity for you. And it's going to be called a rich task. And your learning objective here is I can persevere to solve rich task problems. Okay? And here we go.
So we have a little number talk to begin with. Mr. Regan, can you go back one more slide?
Yes,
Thank
there we
you.
go. Sorry.
There you go. That's okay. Okay, so let's have a look at the picture. And the question says, what do you notice? And what do you wonder? Mr. Regan, I noticed that there are some happy penguins walking on the beach.
They're so cute, Miss Yuka.
Very
What I'm kind of wondering too is that normally we would think of penguins in the winter, and there might be snow, and there might be a cold climate, but this doesn't really look like a cold climate to me. But that's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes. I wonder where they're trying to go. Well, let's see what our math problem is with this.
Yeah.
So these penguins are on the beach. Later in the day, more penguins come to join them. Now there are 32 penguins on the beach. How many penguins joined? So I would like you to pause, and I want you to reread the problem and try to solve this problem. And when you're ready, come back and we will check our answers together. Welcome back. Mr. Regan, did you have a chance to solve it?
Yeah, and you know what I was thinking, Miss Yuka, was I think we have to start with how many penguins do we see here in the picture?
Oh yeah, that's right. We have to start with that, right? I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 penguins. I see 8 penguins. Did you see that?
I do. I see 8 penguins there, and I see kind of 4 kind of bundled up there, and then I see 2 and then another 2. So, yep, I'm counting 8 altogether. And did you get a chance to solve it too?
Yeah, I did, and I started with 8 penguins. Let me show you how I solved it, and we can compare our answers. Okay. And I'm sure, boys and girls, you can listen to ours and compare your answers to ours. I used a base 10 model to solve this problem. So first I wrote out the problem. So there were 8 penguins, but some joined. We don't know how many, so that's what we're trying to figure out. And in the end, there were 32 penguins altogether. So I wanted to use my base 10, which is my favorite strategy. So I drew 8 because we knew those were the little penguins that we just saw. And I had to figure out how many joined. So I decided that I was going to count on until I got to 32. So at first I used friends of 10, try to get to 10. So I drew true here. That's my 10. I have 10, and I wanted to get to at least to get to 30. So I said 20, 30. So that means I added 2 10s. I'm up to 30, and I needed 2 more. So I added 2 1s. So all I had to do was to add up my pink ones here. So I said 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I wrote out my answer here. 24 penguins joined. Is that what you got, Mr. Regan?
That is what I got. Yes, Miss Yuka. And I did it, I had a different strategy. What I was thinking was kind of on a number line too. And I knew that since we counted 8 penguins to start, and then we know that there were 32 in the end. So we had to figure out how many more penguins came to join them. And so that's, yeah, just what you did, Miss Yuka. And so I started at 8, and I wanted to get to that friends of 10. So I counted 2 more to get to 10. Then once I was at 10, I had to count to 30. And I know that, like you said, I needed to count 2 more 10s. So I counted 20. That got me to 30. And then I needed to do another 2 jump. And that got me to 32. And then I grouped all those together. So I had 2 plus 20 plus another 2. That got me to 24. So I said 8 plus 24 equals 32. And so I know that my answer there was 24 penguins joined them on the beach. So same
Great
answer.
job, Mr. Regan. Well done. Boys and girls, did you get that answer too? Well done. Okay, let's move on to our daily review.
Okay. Yes, and remember to pause the video when we are going through our daily review here for you, and then you can come back and check your answers. So I'm going to read over the 3 problems for you, and then you can come back and check. So number 1 says, write the number in expanded form. Remember, expanded form is the way that we stretch out that number, right? So it's written there in standard form, but we want to stretch it out and write it in expanded form. Number 2 says, find the missing numbers. 298 equals 200 plus something plus 8. Remember, and that's an expanded form. What's the value that's missing there? In the next problem, we have some number plus 50 plus 9 equals 759. What number is missing here? Then we have number 3 is what is the value of the digit in the tens place, and then prove it. So your number is 439. What's the value here of the 3 in the tens place? What is it worth? What's that value? All right, friends, remember to come back and join us, and we have your answers for you. Okay. All right, and welcome back. Here we go. So with your daily review, we have number 1 in expanded form was 365 is 300 plus 60 plus 5. Number 2, find the missing numbers. We had 298, 200 plus 90 plus 8. Sorry, there you go. There was that answer. And then for the next one, we have 700 plus 50 plus 9 is 759. Then for number 3, we're looking for the value of the 3 in the tens place. And here we go. Thank you. Miss Yuka had a wonderful drawing for us. We have 3 tens, so the value of the tens place is 30 because you have 3 tens there in the tens place. Sound good? Awesome.
Good job. You guys learned a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right, and to start now our rich task problem. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you, and we're going to talk about the numbers and the pictures that we see here. So at the beginning of math class, a container of place value dice fell on the table. Oh my gosh. Mr. Alex said, wow, you can make a lot of numbers with these dice. Think about what numbers can you build with the place value dice? Yeah, what are we thinking, Miss Yuka?
These place value dice has a lot of faces, I notice. Well, let's look at it very closely, and we can see what numbers are actually there for us. Now I can see. Ooh, look at that. I see some hundreds. I see like 700, 400, 600. I see some tens there. 60, 30, 10. I'm also seeing some ones like 6 and 9 and 2. So what 3-digit numbers can I build using these dice? Well, let me think. This is what I have. I see 600, and then I see a 30 and a 2. So I could build 632 using those 3 dice. Now, I also see 700, and I see 30, and I also see 2. So if I put them together using those 3 dice, I can also build 732. Ooh, I see 100 and a 0. If I put a 0 in the tens place, and then I can see that there is a little 2 dice. So if I put it together, I can build a number 102. And I'm sure there's so many more other numbers I can build. Mr. Regan, do you have some numbers that you can build from these dice?
Definitely, Miss Yuka. And I was kind of looking at what you were writing too. And what I found was also a 600, and then a 30, and then a 0. And even though the 0 dice, right, in this case, that 0 does have a place value, right? And that 0, okay, so that would still be a 0. So 600 plus 30 plus 0. I did have another one here. I see the 400, the 400.
Yes.
I see the 30 dice. And also if the 6 dice. And so that together, I'm sorry, I'm running out of room there. I'm making my board too big. That would be 436 in standard form. And then I have one other there. I see a 100 plus, I see the 30 And then the 9, we can also make that. And that in standard form would be 139. So same thing, Miss Yuka, just we can make so many different numbers using these place value dice, right?
Yeah, so friends, you're going to pause here, look at these dice, and look at the numbers that you see, and try to build some 3-digit numbers using the dice, the place value dice that you see in front of you. Let's see how many combinations you can find, right? So that's the first part.
Yeah, and just one other thing to add there, Miss Yuka, too. I noticed that the hundreds are all in red, and the tens are all in green, and the ones are all in white. So by combining a red dice, a green dice, and a white dice, you can make a 3-digit number. So yeah, this is how many combinations you can make.
Right.
And we're going to continue. Yeah, go ahead, Miss Yuka.
Sorry. This is your first seesaw activity. Okay, we're going to continue with the place value dice, but there's a little problem, a challenge problem for you. Are you ready? When the class was cleaning up, Saya found some place value dice under her desk. Some of the numbers that she made while cleaning up were 538, 254, 554, and 238. So it looks like she built some numbers using the place value dice. Now, the question is this. What place value dice were under her table? So that's the first problem. Okay, so let me think about it. I see 2 numbers using the 500s. So you know what I'm thinking, Mr. Regan? I think one of the dice on the floor has to be a 500 dice because she had to build 538 and 554.
Yeah, and I also see with those 4 numbers, I see 2 of the numbers have a 4 in the ones place. So I know that there has to be a 4, a white 4 dice. Yes, just like that. So I know that there has to be at least one of those dice.
So you are going to figure out the rest. There are more dice that fell under the table. So look at these 4 numbers and figure out what dice were under the table. And you can draw it just like that, okay, to kind of represent the dice. The second problem is, what other numbers could she have built? So once you figure out what dice were on the floor, now start building those 3-digit numbers, just like we did in the previous problem. How many numbers can you build with those dice?
And boys and girls, and this is where a rich task becomes a challenging problem where you have to persevere, right? To not give up. How many numbers can you come up with? Keep challenging yourself so that you can come up with more numbers. Don't give up. All right. For your second seesaw activity, you're going to be making this fun little robot character. So you're going to choose a 3-digit number, and in each little square there, you're going to write your 3-digit number in standard form, then in expanded form, in unit form, and then in base 10, use a base 10 model. All right, friends? Great job today. Have a wonderful day.
Great job. Have fun.
Bye-bye, friends.
Bye.